Now let's look at the actual application of hatch and fill in a drawing. Here I have an elevation of a small cabin, and I want to enhance this with using fill patterns to represent materials. I'm going to start by activating my hatch, and I'm going to be working on the roof. So in this case, I'll go to my custom, and I want my AR roof shake. So I'll choose that pattern, and I'll leave the scale at 1. I need to pick the boundary, so I pick inside my boundary edge, and it finds that boundary. I hit enter to go back, and now I'll preview, and that's makes my roof shake pattern. So I'll go ahead and accept that. Next I want to put bricks on the chimney, so I'll get my hatch again, and this time for my material I'm going to use the brick. I have to look for it for a second. I'm going to get brick, and for these to come out the right size in the scale that I'm working to, I need to scale these to 15. So I'll pick inside my boundary and preview, and that looks right, and so I'll accept that. Now you notice that down here in the front I want to hatch this area in, but I don't want to hatch the windows and the doors. These would be considered islands in my hatched area. So we need to look at how we would deal with islands. I'll start my hatch command, and in the dialog box down here at the bottom I have an arrow for more options. This expands the dialog box, and I see that I have some choices about how I'm going to deal with islands. With this box checked, islands will automatically be detected inside the boundary area. And then how they're going to be dealt with, you notice that if I have normal, it's going to ignore this region and fill the middle. I can say outer, or I can say ignore all of the island boundaries. Well, let's take a look at what normal looks like. I'm going to use my pick to pick inside my boundary area, and you can see the boundaries that have been found, including the windows that would be considered the islands. And so I need to set my material. In this case I want to use line. And I need a scale of 48. And let's preview. And it looks pretty good, except for you notice the very center of these windows are getting lines coming through them too. So we're going to change to outer. This will force all of my hatch to stay on the very outside edge of my boundaries. And let's preview this. And you notice that now I don't have any lines going through there, so it's staying on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that, and now I have hatched this area so that it looks like siding, and it has avoided the windows and doors. So I'd like to add some color to my elevation to make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to click on hatch and change to my gradient fill. And in this case I want I'll start with the fireplace. So I'm gonna pick actually a single color. I'm going to pick out a shade of red, which I'll choose, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick the fireplace, and again it finds that boundary. And this time I'm going to look at the draw order, because I want, on my chimney, I want to see the lines for the bricks, but I want to see the color too. So that means I need to set the color behind. I'm going to say send it to the back behind the hatch that's already there. And let's preview and see how that looks. Okay, so now I can see how my gradient colors are going to work. And I'm going to choose a different one. I think I'll choose light at the top, dark at the bottom. And we'll preview that. And I'm going to soften it a little bit. I'll preview that. That looks more like what I want, so I'll go ahead and accept that. Down here, the strip at the bottom, I would like to have that in kind of a medium brown. So I'm going to choose hatch again and go to gradient color. This time I still want to stay with single color. This time I'm going to go to my color books, and I'm going to pick kind of a light brown, and I'll pick my islands. I'm going to pick this area down here, and go ahead and accept that. Now I would like to have this fascia board be the same as this down here. So one of the things that I can do is, when I go into my hatch and gradient dialog box, I can use my inherit properties tool. With inherit properties, I can pick up the properties of this filled area, and I can put them into this boundaried area, and I'll preview that. And now I've matched these two together by using the inherit properties tool. Now I want a light color here with the windows and doors, so the wall with the windows and doors in it. So I'm going to again go to my color book. I'm going to pick kind of a yellow for that. I'll pick, come back and preview to see what that looks like. And I can see that that does stay on the outside of all of my windows. So I'll go ahead and accept that. Turn our attention to the roof. Now, if I want to get my gradient hatch directly, I can take it off of the flyout on my draw panel. And I want a brown color for the roof, so we'll choose that. We'll go ahead and we'll pick a point, and we will preview. Now you notice that we've had send to back as stayed, so each time we're putting it behind the hatch that was already there. Let's see what would happen if I send it to the front, and let's preview that. You can see that that covers up the shake hatch pattern that was there. So I can control the visibility by using that draw order to make sure that they go in the order that I want them to go. And now I'm looking at the gradient on that and seeing if I want to accept that. I would like it to be light towards the top and dark towards the bottom. A little bit more like that, and I'll go ahead and accept it. We're going to look at how I could add color as a hatch rather than a gradient. If I wanted to add a solid color, I can activate my hatch command, and in picking out my pattern, other predefined has solid as one of those options. So I'll say OK. Down here under color, I can look at my color palette here, and we're going to pick a blue and say OK. And now we'll pick points. Now what I want to work on is this little trim around the outside of the windows. And when I pick that area, these are blocks, so it's saying that it's not closed. But we're going to go ahead and continue, and then we'll preview to see if it stays on the outside. And that looks good. So I'll accept that. Now if I want this one to look like that one, you know that I can bring back my hatch and use my inherit properties. Take the properties from that window, properties, place them there. I'll accept that it's not a closed area, and that looks good. And so here's my finished elevation with hatching and gradient colors and solid colors.